The problem is the politicians who give banks big bailouts, as they did, get to be hated by the mass of people who understand very well what's going on. That private banks, to make private money, want the government to bail them out, and they don't want to have to do it. But the banks don't want to do it. So here's what the banks and the politicians got together. They found another sucker. You know who it is? The depositor. It turns out that the laws have been rewritten, starting with a bank in Cyprus that went belly up a few years ago, to allow banks, when they can't recover money they lent and should not have lent, they don't now have to go to the government to get a bailout. They can get a bail-in. You know what that is? Taking money from the depositors who put money in the bank and simply taking it to recoup their own capital that they can't get back from the people they lent to. Is it legal to have a bail-in, to take the money of the depositor and not give it back to them? The answer is yes. In many countries, including the United States, the laws now allow a bail-in.
So here is this FDIC meeting, now added with some subtitles so you can hear these guys discussing this back and forth, lawyers and FDIC bankers, basically trying to keep this information from you about what's about to happen with bail-ins. Watch.
Should be accessible when people need to know, but I don't think you have much hope of reaching a public that doesn't have a professional need to know.
I completely agree with that. I almost think you'd scare the public if you put this out. Like, why are they telling me this? Should I be concerned about my bank? Like, my insurance company doesn't tell me what they're doing with my assets. They just assume they're going to pay my claim. Right? I think you've got to think of the unintended consequences of taking a public that has more full faith and confidence in the banking system than maybe people in this room do, that we want them to have full faith and confidence in the banking system. They know the FDIC insurance is there. They know it works. They put their money in. They're going to get their money out. So there's a select crowd of people that are in the institutional side. And if they want to understand this, they're going to find a way to understand this. There's a bunch of law firms represented in this room. There's a bunch of people who charge them by the hour a lot of money to explain this all to them. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And they all have huge staffs. But I would be careful about the unintended consequences of starting to blast too much of this out in the general public.
Yeah.
They don't need to know that.